So this thing at the top is the rational equation they're asking us to solve. They're breaking it down into steps, which I often don't like because you don't have to do a problem the same way as the computer and you can still get it right. But let's follow the instructions they say and find out why the student had some points marked off. This looks right. Because the first step they say is factor the denominators. So these are the denominators, the bottoms. Can't factor this one. Can factor this one. That's k squared minus 9. That's the same thing as k minus 3 and k plus 3. The reason why I picked up on that is because I knew that we could take the square root of 9 and get an integer. So if that was 16, the square root of 16 is 4. So I know I could put 4 here and 4 here. You just got to alternate the signs. That way the middle terms cancel out. That's a factoring trick. And then this stays the same. Okay, so everything looks good there. They factored the denominator. The least common denominator is the smallest thing that we can turn both of the denominators into. Okay, so this is the smallest thing we can turn this denominator into. This denominator can be turned into this denominator if we just multiply it by a k plus 3. So this is the least common denominator over here. That's the smallest expression that we can turn both of the denominators into. We can get this to turn into this with just one step. Write each expression with the least common denominator. I was going to say, I don't see anything wrong here. So what the student did was they said, okay, we need to have this as the common denominator. So that means I got to multiply the top and the bottom by the piece that's missing. We got the k minus 3 over here. We need to multiply the top and the bottom by k plus 3. And then we've got to put parentheses around this because you're multiplying the entire thing by k plus 3. So that's it. That's correct. They put the k plus 3 up top. That's 4 times k plus 3 over here. When you do that, you're multiplying by 1 because it's something divided by itself. So you're not changing what the value of this fraction represents. Part 4 says subtract the numerators and write the result. So if now that we have common denominators, now we can subtract the numerators. Get k minus 4 parentheses k plus 3. And the denominator we get k minus 3, k plus 3. But there's more arithmetic we can do to simplify. We can distribute that negative 4. I had to back up the video. That's negative 4k. I dropped my k here. And then we get negative 4 times 3 makes negative 12. For part 4, I think they just wanted you to plug it in without simplifying. So for part 4, the thing that needs to go in that box is right here, what we get when we subtract with those common denominators. Okay, and then part 5 I think just wants us to finish simplifying. So you got k minus 4k, that makes negative 3k. I just combine like terms in the numerator up here. And then still k minus 3k plus 3. And then we can factor a negative 3 out of the numerator. So that's negative 3k plus 4. And the denominator stays the same. So you always want to factor because sometimes, like if we got a k plus 3 in the top, we would have been able to cancel it out with a k plus 3 on the bottom. But that's it. That's the answer.